Peace, y'all. Welcome back to the channel. Evolve Benton here, the Speaking for Profit strategist. You probably clicked on this video because you think that you need to be famous in order to land paid speaking gigs. I know speakers who have a couple of hundred followers online and are consistently booking speaking gigs every week. And then I know some speakers who have over 100,000 followers and they are barely getting paid to speak. So the issue here is not fame. We don't want to be famous necessarily, but there is a strategy and I'm going to teach you that today. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to position yourself as a professional speaker without being famous. We want you to position yourself as a professional speaker without anyone knowing you. That's what my goal is for you by the end of this video. So let's get into it. Meeting planners and event hosts are not searching for the most famous speaker. In fact, they don't even care. What they care about is if you are a speaker that actually solves a problem for their industry. When you come into the room at that conference or that summit, are you going to be the one that moves their audience from inaction and boredom into action and actually changing the field? So it's important that you go in with your positioning, thinking to yourself, I want decision makers to know and have clarity on the problems and solutions that I bring to my industry. Clarity is the most important thing here, not fame. So I'm going to share with you 3 questions that you should be answering for yourself if you want to have sharper positioning as a professional speaker. Let's get into it. The first question that you want to ask yourself is, who do I already know the most about? Who do I already know all about? You know the pain, you know the problem, you know the industry gossip, you know the stats, you know the books that people read, you know the ins and out of it. And it's important because that's your audience. That's the people that you're going to impact. That's the conferences that you're going to actually do outreach to, because you know them and they probably know you. So who is your audience? Who do you already know all about? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is all about, what problems have you already solved? In your industry, what problems have you already solved? And this is key because you probably have worked on policy, you probably have worked on different boards, different committees, and submitted so many different solutions to problems that your company are having through training and development. I know for me, I started off working in higher education, y'all, over 15 years ago, and I spent over 10 years in the field. So during that time, I was working within equity and belonging. I had the opportunity to support with campaigns that installed gender inclusive restrooms at the healthcare organizations I worked at, particularly at public hospitals. I had an opportunity to be on committees that decided how we were going to use pronouns in the classroom. I even got to support faculty members at the medical school that I worked with to think about their curriculum and who are the people that are not being included in order to build a more diverse curriculum for our students. So I've done so many things and been a part of so many solutions. And those are the things I want you to think about, because 1, it makes it easier for you to have clarity and sharper positioning around what you actually offer as a speaker. But the second thing is, this is the perfect topic for your signature talk. And we'll get into that in another video, which is your signature talk is your Beyonce method, right? Beyonce has 1 album. Hopefully we get Act 3 very soon. And in that album, you hear it, whether you're in London or in LA, she might change the outfits. We might get Blue Ivy. We might not. We don't know. But it's going to be the same consistent album because it's a hit. And we want that from your signature talk. But like I said, we'll get into that in another video. So you got the first 2 questions. The first one, who's your audience? Who do you already know all about? And number 2, what problems have you already solved? Number 3 is all about your impact on the stage. I want you to think about, how do you leave your audience? How does your audience feel when you leave the stage? I remember I was speaking at a graduation. This was in Santa Cruz, California, one of the most beautiful universities, UC Santa Cruz. And I was actually the speaker for their lavender graduation, which is the graduation that celebrates LGBTQ students who are graduating that year. After I left the stage, one of the parents came up to me and they said, Evolve, you reminded us of why we sent our son to this university. So from that, I got to them that, wow, I made them feel at home again. They were feeling the same feeling that they had during freshman orientation. Like, we are so thankful that we got our son to come to this school, and it feels like a place that he can call home. They got that from that graduation speech. So I can use that as one of the outcomes and one of the ways that my audience feels when I leave. You might find these outcomes in testimonials, LinkedIn recommendations. If you use a tool for surveys after your presentations, look back at some of those. One of my favorite tools to use for this is called Talkadot. And Talkadot is amazing because you can put up a QR code, people can give you feedback and give you testimonials on the back end about how you did during your speech or during your presentation. So first thing, who do we all know? Second question, what problems have we already solved? And then third is, what do people say? What outcomes do you leave your audience with when you're done speaking? So now that we have all these questions, and take some time, pull out your journal, answered, we want to put this in a succinct one sentence. It's going to be called your I help statement, because we want people to have clarity. You're going to post this on your headline of your LinkedIn. You're going to put this in your bio, but you're going to use this when the magic really comes together. And that's in person at networking events. You want to be able to say this so it rolls off your tongue and your audience understands the problems that you solve so that they can be curious and want to bring you in to be the next speaker. So let's put together our I help statement. So we're going to start off with the words I help. I help. Now, for some of you might be like, I'm not the help. Okay, you empower. Whatever you want it to be, but make sure that the sentence structure has clarity. Remember, clarity is the most important here. So helping is a universal language. I help. First sentence, I help. I help who? The who is the audience. That's question number one. Remember, we want to answer, who do we all know all about? So for me, I help LGBT college students. Remember the story I told you? I spoke at a graduation. So I help LGBT college students. That's going to be the beginning of my I help statement. Write down yours and do me a favor, share some of them in the comments. I would love to read them. I want to know who you help as well. So now that we have the beginning, I help in the audience, the next question we're answering is number 3. With what outcome? What outcome are you giving that audience? I help LGBT college students feel at home. I help LGBT college students feel at home. What do you do? What audience do you help and what outcome do you give them? Write it down. Take a little time, but write it down. Even if you need to pause this video and come back afterwards, please do it. Because I want you to be able to walk away from this video and get into action. Because action creates momentum. And what does momentum create? Abundance. That's what we want in your life. So I help your audience and what problem you solve. What outcome comes from your audience? What is the outcome? I help the audience and what is the outcome the audience is left with? So next we want to get into the end of the I help statement. So now that we have I help in our audience, we want to end it with question number 2, which is the actual solution that you bring to the problem, right? So we want to end it with question 2. What problems have you already solved? So what problems have you already solved? I help LGBT students feel more at home by providing a welcoming environment and facilitating community spaces. I help LGBT students feel at home by providing writing workshops that make them feel more community centered. So we want to know the problems you solved and how you solve them. This is where the nitty gritty gets in there, because people are going to be listening to that. They're going to be like, okay, it's great that we know you know the audience. Cool. That's an outcome that we actually need. But how do you get us there? And I want you to be honest with yourself. Some of you are great hosts. Some of you are great keynote speakers. Some of you are great facilitators of space. Be clear about how you want to get them there. The roadmap is important, and we want them to know and have clarity on that roadmap. So once we have that I help statement together, we can put it on our LinkedIn. Like I said, we can share it out with the world. But I want you to do me a favor. Share it with me first. Share it in the comments of this video. And if you need more support with putting this together, I want you to join my community, the Profitable Speaker Circle. It's a community for diverse speakers just like yourself. It's free to join. And in that space, I support you with putting together the foundation of your speaking business by using what we call the Wealthy Speaker Blueprint. I would love to welcome you into the community. I started it because when I first got started as a professional speaker, it was so lonely. right? You're sitting there sending emails, trying to figure out how to get traction, going to organizations and speaking, wondering if you did really well, wanting to get feedback on your speech before you go. And that is why we have that community space. So join by clicking the link in the description, but also you should see the link up on the screen right now as well, hopefully. Okay, so let's get back to it. You join the circle, you get feedback, you have this I help statement, but that's not it. I want you to remember that you have a superpower. Using this I help statement out in the world so people know what you do will call you into rooms that you might not have a seat in. Using this I help statement out in the world, out in real life, so people know what you do will put you into rooms that you don't have a seat in yet. So not only do I want you to share with me and share it with the community, I want you to share it with 5 of your friends so that they can know what you do and how you create an impact. Do it. Do the homework, y'all. Don't skip over this. So I want to share a story with you all. I have seen clients do this and kill it. Like, come out the gate. One of my clients in particular, Desmond, you've probably seen him on the channel before. He's a social worker. He's a burnout coach. So he helps organizations prevent burnout. And he particularly works with healthcare organizations, educational organizations, places where there is high stress because there is high outcomes that they must meet. When he first started with me and he put together his statement and he had clarity on his offer, he landed a $15,000 opportunity out the gate. And I know for a fact it's because he specialized and he had clarity around who he helps and what he does. Because if he was just to be simple and not clear, he would have said he's just a motivational speaker or just a leadership speaker. When you say that, I'm just a motivational speaker, I'm just a leadership speaker, what it does for you is it ends up putting you in a group with so many other people. But when you give people clarity through an I help statement, it helps you stand out and makes you one of one. So we want that authenticity there. We want the clarity there. And we don't want to use terms like motivational, leadership that lump us with everyone else. You don't need to be famous. You just need to have clarity around your positioning and around your offer. That is how you be successful as a professional speaker. So I want to thank you for using your most valuable resource with me, which is your time. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.